Welcome to Della Fox Checks, and today I'm heading over to Glendale because there is a Stranger Things pop-up store that has appeared, and I'm gonna give you guys the top 5 reasons why I really enjoyed this Stranger Things pop-up store. So let's get going. Let's go. Are you sure it's free? Are you sure it's free? Are you sure it's free? So when the Stranger Things pop-up store came out, a lot of people were here. There was actually a reservation system just to go into the store, but now it's about to leave, so there's not a lot of people. So the first reason why I enjoyed this pop-up experience was because of the picture opportunities. Inside of the store, there are a ton of different places where you can pose and take pictures at so that you can post them on Instagram. And again, I think this is so cool because we live in a generation that loves taking pictures, and they put a ton of different sections for you to take pictures at. So I'm sure a lot of people came and they just had a blast taking pictures. But this right here is the living room set. Well, it looks like the living room set from the show, you guys. And they had a ton of different merchandise that you could purchase, right? But of course, one of the cool things about the pop-up is that you got to feel like you were in the show, right? Like right now that I was here, I almost felt like I was actually in the show, in the living room where all the mysterious things were taking place, right? They had books for sale, they had mugs for sale, they had cups for sale, they had a lot of different things that were related to the Stranger Things franchise that you could purchase. They also had this old school television, which I thought was just so crazy, you guys. I hadn't seen one of those in years. And of course, right there, they had wallpaper that showed the monster from Stranger Things, right? That was coming into the living room. They had the Christmas lights hanging up. If you guys saw season 1, I believe it was, that's where they put up the Christmas lights in the living room, you guys. And again, I really wish I could have came with the person that introduced me to the Stranger Things TV show, because we both would have just geeked out. And she, of course, knows more about this than me. But of course, there goes the drawing that they drew. I think it was at the end of season 1 or the end of season 2. I can't remember, but there goes the drawing, you guys. I really should have posed for like a picture of me like holding it or pretending to draw it. And again, you could have sat down on the sofa and took a picture there. Of course, the letters were in the background and the Christmas lights, and it was just so cool, you guys. If you're a fan of the show, you would have just geeked out for this. And I had not held a phone like that in such a long time. No one has these phones on their wall anymore. We all use cell phones. They had cassettes here, you guys. If you're a 90s baby and 80s baby, you know what those cassettes are. They also had some cereal with the letters in a backwards order, right? So it was in Cinnamon Toast Crunch, it was in Cheerios, it was all backwards, and each one of those were 20 bucks, so they were a little pricey. And here goes another awesome place for you to take a picture at. Of course, this is a good picture opportunity right there because you could sit on the bikes and take a picture. I took a picture there and I posted it on Instagram because I just loved it. Of course, we know that Netflix made the show of Stranger Things, so they did have a section right here so that you could purchase some of their merchandise. I actually was really digging this Netflix pants right there because when you sleep, you could wear it and watch some Netflix. I also really like this shirt over here. It said chill because Netflix knows you like to Netflix and chill. The second reason this experience was so cool was because they played the mysterious music from Stranger Things, the one that goes like dun 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 dun. And unfortunately, I can't play because it is a copyrighted song, and then YouTube is just not gonna let me play the music on my video. But it was cool because the lights kind of dimmed in the store, and then they went crazy. They had strobe lights. If you guys saw, like, the lights kind of dimmed, and like the feeling inside the store just completely changed, and I really liked it, you guys. I wish you could play the music in the background. It gives it a different feel, but I just really liked how they included that in the pop-up store. The third reason why I enjoyed this experience was because they had an arcade, just like in the TV show. So I thought this was really cool. When I was growing up, I used to go to arcades all the time. So I could definitely relate with the show when it came to like kids going to arcades and hanging out. There's actually an arcade I used to go to. It was the one that was across the street from LACC. That was such a popular arcade. I don't know if it's still there. I haven't gotten it in a long time, but I probably should go check it out to see if it's still there. Of course, they also had gear that was related to like the arcade, like the Palace logo right there, that you could check out. They also had some cool shirts for you to see that were related to the Stranger Things show, and I wanted to buy one, but they were like 50 bucks, you guys. And right now, I don't have that type of budget to be able to buy a shirt like this, but maybe in the future. And this was so cool that they actually had arcade machines just like in the show, you guys. This was honestly a blast from the past. I believe that was Space Invaders right there. I can't remember, or no, it was Galaga, or I can't even remember what it was, but it looked like some old school games that I used to play. This was the Dig Dug game that I remember playing. And again, you guys, I'm probably like wrong on the names, you guys, of the arcade games, because I just have not played them in a long time. But this was so cool that they had, and it was free to play them, so it was awesome. This is such a cool experience right here. If you're a fan of the show, this is so cool. You're basically reliving all the moments from the show. And one of the things that I really liked about the pop-up store was that every single section was a different theme from the show, right? So you weren't seeing the same stuff. Like right here, they had a little Scoops Ahoy section, which is a popular store where one of the characters worked at in season 3, right? This store was located in the Starcourt Mall, and they featured it a lot. And of course, they had the little sailor hats from the store, and they had the uniform, they had the bow, they had a ton of different stuff that you could purchase and take home with you. Of course, they had a bunch of other collectibles, like look at these little peas. I had not seen peas in a long time, but of course those peas had the heads of the characters from the show. They also had some nice Stranger Things shirts. Trust me, I wanted to buy a lot of stuff. The fourth reason why I liked the pop-up was because they took me to Hawkins High. And one of the things that I loved about this section was that I actually felt like I was in a high school. Like, look at this bulletin board right here. They have the "Have you seen me" sign for the kid that disappeared at the beginning of season 1. They also had the essay contents right here. And this stuff is just stuff that you would see in a bulletin board if you were living in that era. Of course, they had an awesome picture opportunity right here where you could take a picture with the Hawkins High School logo right there, which I thought was pretty neat. They also had these shirts right here that were related to the high school. They had bumper stickers, they had pencils, they had stuff for your dog, which I just love. They had some socks. Of course, they had the Hawkins ball thing right here, which you could also take a picture at the Hawkins Middle Snowball. And I just loved it, you guys. They had the year, they had Hawkins gear. Like, if you wanted to dress up like you were going to the school, you could literally buy everything. And I just love the lockers, you guys, because it reminded me of when I was going to school. I remember when I had a high school locker and I used to put stuff like this. Of course, I love that they featured Eggos, because I feel like Eggos were so popular back in the day. Like, when I was growing up in the 90s or the early 2000s, I used to love Eggos. Nowadays, I don't see Eggos really being promoted that much. Like, I remember they used to have that commercial of the "Let Go My Ego," and when you were right here, you actually heard like different things from like the TV show. Like, you guys see the walkie-talkie right there. When you were right here, you actually heard the kids talking to each other through the walkie-talkie. So I thought that was pretty cool. Of course, we remember the scene with the rats. So I just really loved it, you guys. That place right there really made me feel like I was at the high school. Of course, right here, they had another awesome picture opportunity for you to take pictures with the monster, right? The Demogorgon. I'm probably butchering the name, you guys. I'm so sorry. But you could take a picture right here with the monster, and I just loved it because look at the monster popping up. It was like a 3D thing. The fifth thing that I loved was the merchandise, you guys. And I know this was like towards the end, but they just sold so many different merchandise related to the show. Like right here, you could buy the miniature monster from the show. Of course, it was a little pricey. It was like $250, and this was the Demogorgon, and I just thought it was cool, you guys. It was the life-size replica, well, not the life size, but it was a miniature size replica of the monster from the show. They had the little nuclear things from the 3rd season. Of course, also this was the part where the soldiers, right, they had the facility at the bottom of Starcourt Mall, and they just had so many different things that you could buy that were related to the show, and I just loved it. Like, look at that old school backpack. I remember when I was going to middle school, like, people used to decorate their backpacks, you guys. Like, honestly, I think I lived a great era back in the day, back when I was going to middle school, and I got to live some of these things that were being featured on the show, right? But they just had so many different things for you to see. Of course, one of my favorite sections that made me feel old was this right here. They literally had cassettes on display, and I actually still have some cassettes. My mom actually still has some in the garage. They had an Atari, which that thing is so old and it looks so mint condition, you guys. They had old school televisions. Look at these radios, you guys. These things are just so vintage. Like, it's crazy. And I really like that they were featuring them here at the pop-up store. Again, it made me feel old, but it was kind of cool. And at the end, it said that you are now leaving Hawkins and at the end you got to take a picture with the Stranger Things logo. It was kind of hard to get a picture because it was so red, but it was still pretty cool. And again, you guys, I'm not an expert like on the Stranger Things show, so I might have said some things that were wrong or they weren't on point or whatever, so excuse me for that. I am a big fan of the Stranger Things show. I love it. I can't wait for season 4. It comes out this year, and I'm so psyched to see where the story is gonna go to next. One of my personal things that I love about the series is that it's like back in the days, and I just love that, right? Again, tell me what's your favorite thing about the show. I always like talking to people who love the same stuff that I do, because it's like a great conversation that you could have with someone else. Again, the store, this pop-up shop gets a 5 out of 5 because I was just geeking out when I was here. I came with my bro and my dad, and they weren't fans of the show. They never saw it, so it was kind of like a solo experience with me. That's kind of why I wanted to bring the person that introduced me to the show so that we could geek out together. But still, it was a fun experience, you guys. I loved it, and I hope that Netflix continues to do some more pop-up stuff like this, right? If you enjoyed this little walkthrough of the top 5 things that I enjoyed from the Stranger Things store, make sure to hit that delicious like button down below. And also, if you want to keep going on some awesome adventures with me all over LA, make sure to subscribe. I post new videos every single week. This was Fox Checks, and I approve of the pop-up store for Stranger Things.